an urban city like Atlanta. People that live in Southwest Atlanta, and you think, well, climate, environment, it doesn't affect them. Well, yeah, the earth is getting hotter, right?
It is.
So you think about communities that may struggle in terms of having air conditioning, may struggle in terms of if there is a landfill near their community. All that's environment related, right?
The trees.
It impact the trees. It impact, and if you keep cutting down Atlanta's beautiful tree canopy, y'all ain't gonna have no beautiful tree canopy anymore.
Welcome to the intersection of Black culture and horticulture with your girl Cola B talking. And guess what, y'all? We Black in the garden. Have you ever wondered what plants have to do with politics? Did you know that simply growing food is a form of activism? If you're Black, this intersection is more critical to your existence than you may have fully considered. Today, we have the distinct honor of hosting a voice that's not just synonymous with insightful journalism, but also a powerful advocate for environmental justice and community empowerment. As the host of WABE's Closer Look, Rose Scott has consistently brought to the forefront stories that matter deeply to Atlanta and beyond. With over 2 decades of experience, she has expertly navigated the intersections of politics, social issues, and community well-being. I remember my time as a trucker on so many afternoons heading out from College Park to Chattanooga on the daily, just 6 years ago. And I would listen to Closer Look, and I would think about how scared I was to start a podcast, this podcast. And now we're here in conversation as soil cousins. Rose is my top choice for our discussion today on connecting plants with politics. I admire how well her work highlights the critical links between policies and social issues, making her a key source of knowledge on how green initiatives can transform urban spaces and lives, especially in Black communities. Whether it's advocating for urban gardens, tackling environmental racism, or exploring the impact of climate change, Rose's reporting provides a nuanced and deeply informed perspective. Please join me in welcoming the remarkable Rose Scott. Welcome to Black in the Garden, Rose. Okay, and so in reflecting on your career, can you tell us a little bit about how your professional experiences and your interviews on things like environmental justice have influenced your understanding of the relationship between urban gardening initiatives and political activism in Atlanta, things of that nature?
Wow. I remember the first time I heard the term environmental injustice from Robert Bullard, who was over at Clark Atlanta University. And Dr. Bullard would talk about these optics around Black folks and injustices as it relates to the environment. Growing up, you don't think about that there are politics involved in the environment. I grew up loving nature, right? My dad took us camping. I never once stopped to think about the policies that impacted the rivers and the lakes that we canoed on. I just didn't think about that. All you think about is, hey, we're going to Lake of the Ozarks, or hey, we're going to Bagnell Dam in Missouri, or hey, I get to go to Sherwood Forest Camp, where I spent so many years as a camper and as a staff member. But as I got older and I started learning the history of this nation as it relates to environmental injustice and environmental racism, definitely I see the connection there. I think what's important for people to understand too is that you may not think the direct effect of, let's say, in an urban city like Atlanta. People that live in Southwest Atlanta, and you think, well, climate, environment, it doesn't affect them. Well, yeah, the earth is getting hotter, right?
It is.
So you think about communities that may struggle in terms of having air conditioning, may struggle in terms of if there is a landfill near their community. All that's environment related, right?
The trees.
It impact the trees. It impact, and if you if you keep cutting down Atlanta's beautiful tree canopy, y'all ain't gonna have no beautiful tree canopy anymore. So all of those things, I think people sometimes forget that there is a connection there with inner city communities, as it relates to the environment. Because usually we hear about rural communities, rural populations.
Yes.
Now, and I think now where we are in 2024, there's definitely greater initiatives to make that connection. But when I was younger, I never heard about that. I never heard about how the environment would impact a city of St. Louis, where I grew up, with sidewalks and all that. But now, as I'm older and understanding the connection that we want clean riverways like everybody else deserve.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's been my eye-opener for me. As a journalist, what's important for me is to make sure that I'm connecting with those resources and sources who can not only educate me, but educate the community. My job is to be fair. I may not advocate for a particular policy, but I'm definitely going to advocate that there be these voices that are going to speak up for communities where I come from.
Yeah.
So that people understand that, yes, indeed, Black communities are impacted by the environment.
As we are concluding this episode, it is clear that our exploration of the political significance of plants in Black communities is just scratching the surface. This is only the beginning of unpacking the complex relationship between plants and politics in Black communities. We thank you so much for listening to Black in the Garden, and I want to wish you all love, light, and soil. Tune in to Black in the Garden, the intersection of Black culture and horticulture. Available on WABE.org/podcast and all your favorite streaming platforms.
WABE.